I am CouchCoop, and all of these local co-op and split-screen games feature on PSN Extra for the month of May. None of these games have ever featured on the channel before, and this is part of the 5 More series, which I've been running for around 5.5 years, and this is episode 33. I'm going to link the entire playlist into the description of the video, but feel free to have a look afterwards. I have placed this list of 5 games in ranked order, but they are all pretty good, and you're probably aware of what we're looking at. It is Moving Out 2. Big fan of the first one. From Team 17, and I've sort of partnered this up with a game called Overcooked, which has also been sequeled, but that has already been on the channel. What has changed with Moving Out 2? Thankfully not too much. It's still got its awesome 80s theme, little open world map at the start to choose your missions, a very competitive timed system, and unlockable characters everywhere. You can still slap on the square button. They have added a layer of complication with a switch system, the fragile objects coming in a lot earlier, meaning you can't throw them. One of the time-saving techniques of the game is to swing things into that trailer from a distance, thus meaning you don't have to venture too far from the house to increase the efficiency of your moving out. There's also quite a lot more elevation with different maps and sliding down things, breaking windows, throwing larger objects from higher ground onto the truck is still just as joyous. This game on paper is extremely simple, and I think that works in its favour for attracting the younger crowd. If you've got kids, it's going to be one you can really enjoy, up to 4-player local, and you're going to have a great time just watching the chaos unfold. Things get broken, people drown in the swimming pool. There's quite a lot that can go down in these smaller maps. Is it better than Moving Out 1? Well, it's a lot bigger and it's got some more complication, which gives it longevity, another reason to keep going. One of the things that annoys me about some smaller indie local co-ops is some seem to get sequels, others don't. I mean, where the hell is Enter the Gungeon 2? Tricky Towers 2? I can think of loads. Not all of them under the Team 17 umbrella, but they seem to probably get allocated quite a big sign-off on sequel, running the numbers on the original game. So we just saw immediately, I feel, an Overcooked and a Moving Out sequel, when what we really all want is Comet Crash 3, The Cronkoid Wars. Can I get something in the comments about that title? Untitled Goose game. I am so late to the party with this. I remember it coming out the day it came out. It was a very big indie hit. Loads of people still play this on stream, and straight up you're going to notice how individual this game looks with its palette and its ideas. You are controlling a goose who is trolling everybody. The satisfaction on causing chaos in this map with 2 people is double fold. I didn't realise how much fun it can actually be. Surprisingly intuitive controls, allowing the goose to sort of run in a straight line, do tighter turns without that run button pushed down. There's almost some technique. You need to get around a plant pot to avoid the farmer, and stealing things, throwing stuff in the water, and even taking onto the water as a goose. Sometimes you even forget that you are actually an animal. You're so busy causing havoc to everybody in this village slash farm. It's also very tastefully soundtracked. The people that made this game obviously understand what's pleasing to the eye and ear. Everything from the menus to the UI to even the game mechanics to the fact that you can honk like a goose with a single button. The satisfaction's amazing, and you've actually got quite a lot of strength for a smaller avian creature. Is there actually any structure? Is this a campaign, or are we just looking at sandbox style gameplay here? There is a mission structure. You do have to get the gardener guy wet. You have to get yourself through gates and progress through the level. There's loads to see in this game. This is like the starter area, and you're just figuring out how to get his keys. You have to distract him. You'll see what they're thinking, so they might be on their way somewhere, so you could intercept or even move the object that they're heading to. There's quite a lot of thought behind this, what appears to be quite a simple indie game. Do not be fooled. A little bit like the Moving Out series, this is perfectly pitched for the younger ones, and even just sitting down and watching somebody in single player explore these maps and work out these problems is entertainment enough. I know this isn't Broforce, but sometimes it's nice to go in a slightly more relaxing direction with your local co-op, and this is spot on. No PvP modes to my knowledge, But then again, that would be a little bit weird. A sort of 1v1 Goose combat game probably wouldn't go down too well. If only there was a rip-roaring monster truck game on 8th gen with full split screen and loads of different modes. Look no further, Monster Jam something something is available on PSN Extra, and I sort of stumbled across it by looking at every goddamn thumbnail and going into the description, because they still have not put a local search on that store. Good for me, because I get people having to look up where to look. Is it Motorstorm, Coop? Is it a Motorstorm clone? Have we finally got that game back? No, don't say the name of that game. I'm so annoyed. They need to remaster. That was an incredible racing game. PlayStation 3 exclusive, can you believe? But this is damn close. It's octane fueled. Your machine takes damage. You have to repair your tyres on the fly. It's absolutely excellent. And these graphics, they're not terrible. I was very concerned about the physics, the bouncy tyres, how this game could look absolutely horrendous. It doesn't. It's quite a pleasant surprise, hence we're in the middle of the list. It's done two things really well. It's given me a wealth of modes to choose from, most of which include other AI cars. That's very important. You saw the beginning of the footage, it was just me and one more co-op buddy, and I was like, oh no. Then it adds actual player progression through XP points and reward money, which allows the second player to incrementally unlock better cars and upgrade. Remember, I am signed in with 2 created profiles here. This isn't a guest and then a singular PSN profile. I've got 2 accounts on the one machine. That may be something you just need to set up. It's got good level variance, almost get a Mad Max vibe with this particular stage. And if you run off course, there's a most unbelievably punishing setback mechanic, which gives you about 1.1 seconds to have that alert up. Then you will reset back 500 meters and 65 seconds on racetrack. It's a horrendous thing to deal with, but it's still ups the tension, and you can do backspins. If only there was a monster truck game where you had a closed sort of Tony Hawk style arena and a point system, all kinds of bonuses around, risks on taking the jumps, and that damage model included. Well, that's exactly what you've got with this, and it is excellent. It's a real cherry on top of the modes, and this is where the real fun starts, linking combos, smashing into each other, and just being a general lunatic. I will just plug my new local co-op and PvP racer list. This isn't in it, but you've got 15 other absolute crackers. I think being late to the party is becoming a bit of a running theme with the list. Yes, Kingdom Come Deliverance of the Two Crowns is finally featured on Couch Coop's YouTube channel. I apologise to all my regulars who have been in the comments for around about half a decade saying you kind of need to put this game on the channel. Here it is, and yes, it is excellent. Number 2. What is Kingdom Two Crowns? Essentially, it's a base building resource management game where you're sort of fighting waves, progressing through days, and creating this town that you can access either left or right on a screen autonomously. So you are not joined at the hip with this footage, even though it looks like it. We can go off to either edges of left or right to get monies, look for alien monsters, or even cut down trees. Essentially what you're doing is employing peasants of the village. You can't actually lift a finger to build or construct anything, not too dissimilar to actual royal people. All about that allocation element, dropping the coins down to employ the villagers to then get an axe or get bows and defend and start building your kingdom essentially. And there's not too much difference with manor lords having the population being an essential cog to getting stuff done really quickly or becoming predominant enough to defend against enemy attacks. Also got some of the coolest and simplified controls I've ever seen in an indie game. Essentially it's a one button process to pump in various caches to your structures to increase their integrity, or even allocate to individual villagers. You are not moving away from any of the face buttons. It is literally one tap and left or right on the stick. So again, this one's going to appeal to everybody. There's no skill-based major action scenes, and what you can open up and develop, and the way the day system cycles, and these visuals and music, it's not doing a lot wrong. Before you know it, you've both got your sort of allocated tasks. One's getting the trees chopped down, the other one's going looking for wildlife and gathering money. You don't actually share the same purse. Communication is pretty cool on what needs to be spent and where. There's well over 200 hours in here, and that's not even getting to the monsters, the weird portal at the end of one of the sides, and the boat that you come across. I mean, there's DLC, there's actually a brand new far away version of this which came out in 2023, which I'll probably pull in to have a look at on the channel also. Dysmantle came out in 2020. This is a suggestion from Goose. You know him from the Helldivers video. Got me playing Teardown for an hour and a half looking for the local co-op. This is a survival game, and it's a very good one. The theme is in the name. It's about breaking down objects, crafting, having a bonfire system quite literally as a save. So if you haven't progressed or got to a safety zone, you will go back to the start. Enemies respawn when you sit down and do your crafting. There's loads of really good tropes in here. It's a healthy as hell 2-player zombie apocalypse game. Yes, you heard me right. This has got clicker-like zombies in it that run after you. There's a dodge roll, there's a power build on that crowbar, and that's immediately what you start doing, is upgrading that, getting your backpack bigger, looking for tomatoes, unlocking the soup capability. This whole game is massive. Once you see all of this meta, all of this crafting, and the tree, the size of your research and the items that you've got coming up, throwing knives are unlocked almost immediately, but you start thinking, oh my god, we are going to have an amazing time with this. It does this brilliant thing with the minimap. It introduces it to you after about 25 minutes of play, so you get really used to that eye of sight, seeing and walking around, but then you get a smaller circular minimap in the corner which shows your objectives and enemies, where your last bonfire was, so you get a bit more organized orienteering going on, and you've got sub-objectives, but you're normally looking for some key element that you're missing to craft something else that's cool.
All working evacuation transports are outbound. Please keep calm and wait for the maintenance. This is an automated recording sent from K23, the Crown Station.
The combat's really good. It completely works. The zombies are already got some variant on them. Some of them are range, and you've got some big fat dudes guarding the exits of this particular map section. There's also a lockpick system and what looks to be an armor and sort of clothing setup with upgrading your top and bottom. Even wearing a cap will increase some of your energy. But none of this would really matter if the combat was terrible. If you've already smashed this, Guz, I imagine you have, and you're like, whatever, Coops, Dysmantle came out like 4 years ago. Have a look at that How to Survive, because it's very similar with its system. It's a little rawer, a little bit more dystopian with its darkness on the zombies, so that one might be in a direction to go in if you've exhausted this content. It is also quite harsh on death, so if one of you goes, there's no sort of stand over them and revive. You've got to go back to that bonfire and respawn them in, thus putting all the enemies back also. If you both go, it's bonfire for both of you. Now, I was pretty amazed at how well the camera works. It is fixed, but you can move it with the other stick. Both players can move it with the other stick. That's super handy. Trying to see around a corner, trying to get in the fridge to get those tomatoes, you're going to be able to just swing the camera unannounced, and both players can do it. That could end up in some arguments. Someone might want to be allocated that role, but it's still very awesome to give both the players that camera capability. Look at the size of the actual map itself overall. This game is friggin' colossal, and I'm wondering how big range is going to change things. At the moment we've got throwing knives going, a machine gun might muck around with that beautiful meta that we've got going on with the crowbar, but I imagine ammunition is scarce. Probably just get a crappy pistol and maybe a shotgun. So it's going to be very interesting to see what direction that all goes in. And armor sets and just crazy inventions and getting down that skill tree. What a great little game to find on that PSN Extra. Not marketed to me at all. A lot of you might think, don't you just get emails from developers that are pushing these games out because you can get them in front of literally thousands of people who want to buy them? Nothing. Not a pip from anyone who made this. Talking of thousands, I think I've reviewed about 650 local co-op and split screen games on the channel in its entirety. Loads of them are in that 5 more playlist, but you've got those colossal hour-and-a-half long, 2-hour long, big new uploads, which I'll link in the description. If you're new, I thoroughly recommend you have a look at my back catalogue because I've spent half a decade making sure only the best local co-op and split screen games get put on the channel. I was of course Couch Coop, and I will let you crack on, and I will see you down there. Next video is also going to be local co-op, bit of a surprise, kind of a favourite with me, and I put one up every single year. You can also help and support both me and the channel with the Patreon link in description, and I will make sure all of those playlists are laid out in the annotations or in the comments.